Well, Mark doesn't waste any time getting down to business, does he? In the Gospel of Mark, we're only like 28 verses into the Gospel of Mark. The first chapter of the Gospel of Mark. Already we've had John introduced. John introduces Jesus. Jesus is baptized. This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased. Jesus goes out into the desert where he's tempted, finds himself. Jesus calls the disciples, follow me. They drop everything they do, and boom, he's working. He's teaching. He's healing people. We could stop. By the way, we could just like take a side trip here and talk about the whole casting out an unclean spirit thing. Is it an exorcism? Is it some kind of healing? Is it a mental health issue? Is it what is it exactly? Except, you know what? That's a sidebar. It's incidental to the story. You know as well as I do that we all could describe something in our life that possesses us in a way we wish it didn't. We all do. And so instead of trying to figure out exactly what is the healing in this story, maybe we should just leave it at something possesses this man, and Jesus brings him to wholeness. Jesus brings him to wholeness. You know, the root word of salvation comes from a Latin word that means health. So maybe salvation for this man is exactly that. Jesus brings him to wholeness and good health. The first thing he does in the Gospel of Mark, not even 30 verses into the Gospel, and already Jesus is doing the two things we know Jesus is going to show us: teaching and healing. Those things go together. They do. They truly do. In fact, spoiler alert, the first Sunday in Lent, we always hear that story about Jesus going into the wilderness, right? Because that's the Lent story. This year, we're going to hear all of this first chunk of the Gospel of Mark again. Each week, over the last few weeks, we've heard a piece of it, right? John arrives. John introduces Jesus. And Jesus is baptized. Jesus calls the disciples. The only piece we left out was the going into the wilderness story. And here we are with Jesus in Capernaum teaching and healing, right? We're going to hear the whole thing again because this is all connected. This first 30 verses of the Gospel of Mark is Jesus. It is Jesus. This is us seeing. This is being shown to us Jesus, who is beloved of God, just as we are. Jesus being very human, just as we are. Jesus going out into the wilderness to find himself, as we probably all should. Jesus calling the first disciples. And sure, it'd be easy to go, oh, the power of Jesus compels them. Kind of like in this story, the power of Jesus compels the unclean spirit to come out of the man. It would be really easy to go that way. It would be really easy to go with the magical, supernatural Jesus. But again, that just moves Jesus away from us. If we want to bring Jesus close to us, we will see in these stories, and particularly in the story today, how Jesus is in us. Jesus teaches with an authority and in a way that amazes the people. It's not like the scribes. So let's be clear that what the scribes do is, oh dear, the scribes do is what I do. The scribes interpret Scripture for the people. That's what they do. And invariably what they'll do is they'll quote you the Scripture passage, and then their interpretation will be based on the great learning of previous teachers. Does Jesus quote Scripture in this story? Well, we don't know. He teaches in the synagogue. I suppose we don't really know, but it doesn't say that he does. And in other stories, when he's in the synagogue, it does. But he doesn't. Does he interpret quoting other people? Well, it doesn't say that he does. It just says that he speaks with an authority that they have not seen before, that is unlike the scribes. Okay, so let's assume he teaches in a way that is not like the scribes. He doesn't quote the scripture. He doesn't quote great interpreters of scripture before him. He simply teaches. He speaks for himself. That's something they'd not seen before. Somebody who speaks for themselves? Well, that can't be right. There must be a way that he's speaking for himself that gives him that authority. He has no title. He has no credentials to present. What is it? This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. I'm sure you remember a few weeks ago when I talked about that passage, one of the things I pointed out was that we all should hear that in our baptism because we are all beloved children of God. And one of the things about that story in baptism is how Jesus comes just as one of the crowd, and then he has that experience in the Gospel of Mark. It doesn't say anyone else sees it. Jesus is both divine and human. And so he goes out into the wilderness after that to discover what to do with that, how to do that. And he comes back, and what's the first thing that he does? Well, he knows he's going to need followers to help him do the work that he now knows he must do. And so he collects those. And sure, it would be easy to go, the power of Jesus compels you, follow me. Or we could think, maybe there was more to that conversation. Maybe Jesus was able to talk to them in a way that convinced them they should follow him. Maybe he spoke with, say, some authority. And then they go to Capernaum. Jesus teaches, and the people that hear him speak are amazed because it's something they haven't seen before. And I think that something they haven't seen before is precisely the point I go on and on and on about repeatedly, which is Jesus is aware of his divine and human nature. And so when he speaks with authority, he speaks with the authority of God, which is the authority of the love and grace and compassion that is in him, truly in his heart, his goodness, his factory setting, which is good. Jesus knows how to do that because Jesus has listened and heard God. Jesus has spent time by himself listening, being challenged, and hearing. And then going out and sharing that. Jesus is the kind of prophet that Moses talks about. One from the people who hears God and speaks. And what's great about the story, the piece of the story we heard today, is in that story is the two pieces after the listening part that we most need to hear. Speak and act. Those two things go together. And they go right together in this story. Jesus teaches, the people are amazed. He steps up and actually shows them the wholeness that he brings, the healing that he brings, the action that goes with the words of love and grace and compassion, the words that came from listening hearing and knowing what is truly in his heart. This is the best part about realizing that the point of Jesus is to show you and I, to show all of us, that that's in us too. We might hold Jesus as the ideal of it, but it's an ideal to which we can not only aspire, we can achieve. We too can listen for God. We too can speak. We can say when things aren't right. We can stand up for justice. We can show compassion and grace. And our actions can lead to wholeness, to healing, to salvation, to what is truly the point of all the gospel stories about Jesus. It's not about us making each of us individually better because of where we might get to next. It's about making sure that this becomes as much heaven as it can be in this life. We can all be prophets. We truly can. We can all be like Jesus. We truly can. Because that's the point of the stories. True is to be true. When we listen for what is true, speak what is true, live what is true, that makes a difference. In fact, it makes all the difference. So, I wanted to sing Go Make a Difference today. And that's a hymn that we sing quite frequently. Probably not frequently enough, I'm going to say. But we sing it quite frequently. I was just going to play it, and we were all going to sing it. And then I found this awesome video, which sadly does not have the lyrics on it. But if you know the refrain well enough, or if you know the hymn, please do sing along. This is Steve Angrisamo, the guy who actually wrote the song, singing Go Make a Difference. Please sing along.
Go make a difference, we can make a difference. Go make a difference in the world. Go make a difference, we can make a difference. Go make a difference in the world. We are the salt of the earth, called to let the people see the love of God in you and me, yeah. We are the light of the world, not to be hidden but be seen. Go make a difference in the world. Go make a difference, we can make a difference. Go make a difference in the world. Go make a difference, we can make a difference. Go make a difference in the world. We are the hands of Christ, reaching out to those in need. The face of God for all to see, yeah. We are the spirit of hope. We are the voice of peace. Go make a difference in the world. Go make a difference. We can make a difference. Go make a difference in the world. Go make a difference. We can make a difference. Go make a difference in the world. So let your love shine on, let it shine for all to see. And go make a difference in the world. And the Spirit of Christ will be with us as we go. Go make a difference in the world. Go make a difference, we can make a difference. Go make a difference in the world. Go make a difference, we can make a difference. Go make a difference in the world. Go make a difference in the world. Go make a difference in the world.